Chad, Sam, Lawrence. It's so good to see you guys. Welcome in, everyone, to the second week of the Adventure Guild Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Hi, Heidi. Thanks for coming in. My name is Voodoo Val, and I'm going to be your host again on this beautiful Monday morning for challenge number 5 of our daily creative challenge. And I'm super excited to jump into what I have planned for today. But first, I'm going to go over some points, some information that some of you might not have already. For those of you who are just tuning in, maybe for the first time during a Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, we actually have a landing page that you folks can go to and get involved in what we're doing, see kind of how everything works, and get a little bit more information on what is going on. So I am going to pull up the behance.net/challenge/Photoshop thing here, which looks like this. If you go to, like I said, behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, it'll bring you to the landing page where you can get a little spiel here about how our challenges work, as well as scroll down and see that every single day we actually unlock a challenge for you. So we did a stylized avatar challenge, icon design challenge, tools and filters challenge, photo compositing challenge, and then today we have texture and patterns. And I'm super pumped. As I've said in the previous challenge days, I am doing kind of an adventure RPG video game theme for these challenges, but some of you guys might not be familiar with that sort of thing. So if you folks still want to participate in the challenge, even though that's not really something you're into or super comfortable with, definitely participate along with us anyways, because you guys can change these challenges up to be exactly what you need them to be. I'm just trying to give you guys a fun, interesting little prompt, kind of get the inspiration flowing, get some of those creative juices going, you know, but ultimately these challenges are yours. They're for you to better your Photoshop skill and scrub up on those basics, and you can do whatever you want with them. Good morning, Adobe Live. It's good to see you. Kroll, it's good to see you as well. Oh, so many familiar faces. Hello, Edward. Hello, Anna. I'm really excited that you guys are here with me this morning. All right. Again, or another thing before we jump into what we're doing is, in order to share your entries with us, we highly recommend you join our Discord. We have a pretty nifty Discord that you can get if you hit the community chat button at the top here under the How Does It Work section, as well as if you scroll down to the bottom here and hit join us under chat and community. And you can also get Photoshop, get a free trial of Photoshop, or purchase the program as well if you have not done that yet, or maybe you're brand new, have never used Photoshop before and you want to give it a try. That link is also at the bottom of the page there. So real quick, I'm going to pull up our Discord, which looks like this. I see Steph Bars even posted an awesome challenge entry already this morning. And this is where people are posting all of their stuff. I'm going to bump myself over to the other side here so that I'm not blocking our channel things over there. But basically, you can come in. You can get a little update on the creative challenge for the day in the creative challenge tab. You can come in and, you know, check out the welcome page, get a little bit of information about what all of our challenge or channels are about. And then you can come in, you can post stuff in the current challenge area here. You can post stuff in the past challenge section as well if you're doing some things a little bit out of order, which is totally fine and always welcome. And you can also come down here, ask questions, get a little bit of advice from mentors and from the community, as well as introduce yourself. So we definitely hope that you do that. It's an absolute blast to be in there and hang out and make art friends and get feedback on your work. So definitely check out that link. Now, without further ado, we are going to jump into the challenge for the day. But also keep in mind that even though we're doing the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge right now, there's still a whole awesome jam-packed day full of awesome design coming up after me. We've got a 2-hour Photoshop segment coming up next, followed by Peter Del Tondo, who is going to be doing the XD Daily Creative Challenge for all you UI UX designers out there. And then that will be followed by an awesome UI UX segment as well. So, let me page this down. I'm going to pull up my Photoshop. And I've got a blank canvas here, and I do have some things in this file because this is going to be a pretty meticulous challenge, and I want to make sure that I at least have an example to show you a finished project if I don't finish it by the end of today. I'm going to Martha Stewart you guys a little bit. I'm going to show you how to bake the pie, and then I'm going to pull out the finished pie at the end is what I'm going to do today. So this is the Heroic Companion Challenge. So for those of you who are not doing the fantasy theme, this is basically going to be kind of a recap on a lot of the tools that we studied last week, just to get everybody back up to speed after being gone all weekend and getting back into the groove of what we're doing. But we're also going to focus on changing through blending modes. Now, blending modes is something that we used for the other challenges as well, but kind of as an afterthought, just in case you wanted to add a little bit of spice to the end of your project. But most of today's challenge is going to be blending modes, which is super exciting. But for those of you who are following the fantasy storyline, so to speak, you've gathered all of the things that you need for your adventure outside of the Adventure Guild. You've chosen your class, you know, made your little avatar. You've gathered up all of your items, your food, and everything. You have created your coat of arms to raise your banners on your adventure outside of the guild, and you have gathered your weapons. But the last thing you need is your heroic companion. So you meet the Beastmaster outside of the walls of the Adventure Guild and pick up your pal. And it's up to you to decide whether that creature is furred, feathered, or scaled. All right? So what I have done is I have decided that my heroic companion that I ride valiantly into battle is a giant attack pigeon. That's like a horse-sized pigeon. That's what I'm gonna choose. And no one can stop me. You literally cannot keep me from doing that, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now, I have found an image of a real pigeon right here. And what I am going to do is use the pen tool to create an outline of this, because I want to get like a silhouette that I can use and sort of design on my own, but I want it to be fairly accurate to, I'm glad that you guys appreciate the giant attack pigeon. I want it to be fairly accurate to the shape of the actual bird. So there's many ways that you can do this. Some of them we went over last week. You can use the selection tool by hitting the L button on your keyboard. Again, my key commands are right up top, just in case you need to see them. And I'm actually going to bump myself over to the left-hand side of the screen here, so that I'm not blocking my libraries and my color palette, because we are going to use those. A battle dog would be awesome. Yes. You can either come in here with the lasso selected, and you can, select your pigeon here. You can hold shift to add to your selection, and you can hold alt to subtract away from your selection, and you can chip away at it like that. But if you want to be very precise in your selection, I suggest using the pen tool like we did previously. So if you hit P on your keyboard, and you can use a stylus or a mouse for this, whichever you prefer. We are going to actually select around the edges of this. And remember, like I said before, especially, this is especially important if you were not around for the previous lesson on the pen tool. You can click and select, to place your first point, click to place your next point, and then drag in order to curve it. But if you start to do this and you're not so familiar with the tool, and you start to kind of go out this way, and you try and drag that and make the arc you want, and you find that it doesn't work, remember, you can hold Control to select a point, and then hold Alt to move these brackets here that will help you define the curve and the path of your selection. And you can just make your way around the shape of a creature that you prefer. Or, if you were an illustrator, perhaps you want to draw your own. Perhaps you would prefer to illustrate your own creature, and that is totally fine. It's up to you guys how you create this. So I'll just keep going along here just a little bit to give a little bit more of a idea of how this can be done. But I did make an outline just to make sure that we got all of this stuff done today. But this is essentially how I would do it, is I would come around here, similar to how we did it last week. And I would, you know, I'm just gonna finish up this shape even though it's not accurate and show you. I would just come up here and press selection, and then grab a marquee or my lasso and do select inverse, so I have just this one section selected, and then I would make a silhouette out of that. Now I've done this, and I have my silhouette that I've made over the top of my bird here. And it's not the cleanest thing in the world, but there's a bunch of other parts to this challenge that we're going to get into right now. So, as I mentioned, we're going to make our companions either feather, furred, or scaled. If you want to do something other than that, if you've decided that you want to create some kind of aquatic thing, maybe it just has weird, like amphibian skin or something like that, definitely go with whatever you guys want to do. But since mine's an attack pigeon, we're going to put some feathers on it. And this is how I'm going to do that. I'm going to open up my libraries here. And I do have some feather images that I have saved for myself here that I am going to use as textures. Now, we went over a few different ways that you can add textures to an image last week. And I am going to employ one of them that we didn't really explore fully yet. So I'm going to hide my reference image till I have my little silhouette here. And I am going to open up one of my feather images just by double clicking it. Now what I could have done is what I did last week is just drag and drop this in here, hit enter, and then right click this layer and do create clipping mask, which is great. And then if I move, like I said before, if I move this around, it stays clipped to that image. However, I know that I'm not going to be moving the placement of my bird silhouette, and I'm also going to be overlaying tons of different textures during this lesson. So what I'm going to do actually is the paste into feature today. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to say Control A and Control C. To select my entire canvas and then to copy what is in my selection. And then, yeah, these feathers are so beautiful. I had a blast just hunting for feather images for this challenge. And then I'm going to come over here to my heroic companion, and I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to click that silhouette of my pigeon. And I am going to go, because I want to reiterate, I want to make sure, just in case you folks weren't here last week, when you hold Control and you click the image icon of a layer, it will make a selection of whatever is on that layer, which is very useful. And then I'm going to say Control-Shift-Alt-V, which is the key command for paste into. Control-Shift-Alt-V. And now that it's pasted into basically the borders of that selection that I had, I'm going to say Control-T, and I am going to start resizing this and using it. I really love these feathers. They're very, I don't believe it's even a pigeon, but it's kind of pigeon-y colors, and it's vibrant and fantasy-esque, and I like it. So I'm gonna flip this horizontal. And I mean, if you right click, you can do all kinds of stuff here. You can warp things if you need to warp the direction of stuff. You can do all kinds of things. And the warp is actually especially important for something like what we are doing today. Just making it conform, you know, to the contours of what we are creating. I'm not necessarily going to use the warp because although that works, I do actually like the direction of the image that I have found. Though you might find some images of fur and scales and feathers and things that don't 100% work with the shape of your silhouette, and you might find that that works very well for you. So I'm going to position this here, and typically what I do for this is I will find a blending mode that I really appreciate. Again, if you are on a PC, you can highlight your blending modes up here above your layers, and you can use your arrow keys to cycle through those blending modes if you prefer. If you are on Mac, you can't actually do this, but you can use the Photoshop previews for these. So if you click your blending modes, you can come down here and you can just hover over and it will preview into what you prefer. And I actually really like linear dodge or let's see, there was another good one there. That lighter color is kind of interesting. It just takes out all the black and makes everything, makes the darkest color that is on the canvas the purple that is behind it there, which looks pretty nice. So it's up to you how you want to do these. In fact, for this one, normal even looks good, so I might even leave it like that. And then I'm going to hit escape so that I'm not selected on my blending modes up here. And I'm actually going to take the eraser tool by hitting E on my keyboard. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm actually going to kind of fade this out around the edges like so, because I am going to use a few different textures like I mentioned, and the problem with using tons of textures overlaid on top of each other on different blend modes means that sometimes the very edge, that harsh edge of the image I'm using, is going to be visible through those other layers, and I don't want that. So I'm kind of fading this out. And then I might even do this again. If I hold Control and I click this to get my selection and then go Control Shift Alt V, I can add yet another version of this. And I'm going to Control T to transform, flip horizontal, and then I'm going to bump this up here. And, you know, on pigeons, sometimes, you know, you see that towards the neck area, the feathers get a little smaller. So I'm going to put those small feathers right there, boom. And then I'm going to erase here with my E tool. And get that blended in so it all looks the same. And you can basically just go around and do this. You can even do things like, let's see, let's hold Control and click again to select this. You can even come through and possibly, if we grab our lasso tool and hold Alt to remove, you can even come through and deselect parts of your selection here in order to focus in on certain areas. Like perhaps you want to add some texture to the feet there, or something. Maybe you want to come in with, let's see, Control Shift N to make a new layer. We'll grab our brush tool and maybe grab an orange color here. Maybe you want to make his feet orange. Maybe you want to come in and dust in a little bit of texture to add that. Maybe you want to select all of that yet again. Maybe you want to add more than one kind of feather texture. So we'll click another one of these feathers, Control A and Control C to select my canvas and copy yet again. Come back over here and Control Shift Alt V in order to paste into. I'm going to Control T to transform that. I'm going to flip it horizontal again. To make sure that these feathers are the proper direction. And then I'm just gonna, you know, do the same thing that I've been doing and just arrange it into kind of something that I think suits the project. And I actually, like I mentioned to you guys before, I actually did this earlier because I knew that with the time that I have available, I couldn't make it like 100% perfect. So I'm gonna show you the possibilities with this real quick. I'm going to actually select all of these things, and I'm going by holding Shift and then clicking everything there, and I'm going to say Control G to group that, and then I'm going to show you the textures that I overlaid very meticulously. So I overlaid a bunch more feathers, and some of these I might even like to come in and do a bit of a color correction to with a blending mode. For example, I could select that shape and come up here above everything, Control Shift N, maybe grab with my brush tool, I'll put it on like a soft brush, grab this blue color and put some blue underneath there and then put that on a blending mode. You know, just to make it a little softer like that underneath there. And then I actually did what I showed you guys. I deselected a bunch of parts from my main selection like so. Let me hit L for lasso and I'm gonna hold Alt. And I did a little thing like this where I came around here and did like a little neck texture. And then I went around and deselected all of this fully. And then I pasted more feathers into this one here, just to make it look a little more fanciful, to add a little bit more texture that looks like it's separate from the rest, which was fun. And then I think that what I would do to kind of round this all off is I'm going to hit Control D for deselect, and I'm going to select my pigeon layer here so I get that shape. I'm going to make a new layer with Control Shift N. I'm going to hit OK. And then what I'm going to do is hit Control H, because that will hide my marching ants texture of the selection while keeping my items selected. And I'm going to come in with the brush and I'm going to do some things like, let's grab maybe this, and we'll grab kind of an orange color here. And I would like to add some details, for example, like adding a beak. You know, maybe I want to give them like a little orange beak. Maybe I want to come in here with like a dark purple and add kind of a, I can actually use like kind of a stamp brush for this. Let's get like a standard Photoshop brush. Maybe I want to come in here and add an eye. We want like a big pigeon eye, you know, and maybe I want to do the same thing, adding, you know, a saddle or something onto my pigeon or what have you. Anything that you folks would like to add, whatever you think would be cool. Maybe your heroic companion has a satchel on the side of it that carries your shield, your weapon that you created. You can even add some of the items in from the previous challenges that you created on the other days if you were participating with me. If not, you can make some stuff up. And again, if you're not following the kind of fantasy-esque theme for this, you can do your own project. I'd love to see what kind of stuff you use blending modes to overlay textures onto in the Discord. So that's going to wrap it up for this challenge. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I cannot wait to see what kind of creatures you folks select and choose for this challenge. We've got another awesome challenge coming up tomorrow, so I hope to see you guys again. And once more before I go, remember you folks can join the Discord, bit.ly/psdiscord, so that you can share them with me, and I can share mine with you. In fact, we do have a little more time here, so I can even show you how I share them, for those of you who've never shared anything in Discord or on Behance before. So I'm going to come over here to my image. I'm going to say Control-Shift-S for Save As, and I'm going to call this Heroic Companion, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. I'm going to say Save, so I have that image saved. And then I'm going to come over to Discord, like so, and if you look right here, there's a little plus button right there, and I'm going to hit that plus button. I'm going to navigate to my Heroic Companion, and I'm going to open it, and I'm going to say, here is my Heroic Companion. Boom. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more detail to it later, because I definitely want to add like reins on it, you know, and give it like a little saddle, give him maybe like some armor on his talons and claws and things, which should be super fun. But yeah, that is how you do it. And definitely post on Behance as well. Remember, you want to use that PS Daily Creative Challenge keyword in your Behance projects in order for us to find it easily. And also something that I haven't mentioned so far during this challenge, but really wanted to make sure that I did today, was if you guys are creating kind of a long Behance project along with this, like I have been, if I come over here to my thing and I open my PS Discord Daily Creative Challenge, I've got it here and I've been adding all of my challenges. Share your Behance project in the Discord so that we can see it, because I'm sure everyone would love to give you a favorite, little thumbs up there. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. It's been a blast, and I will see you folks tomorrow. Adios, everyone.